Hey guys, were you looking for some info on how to beat the new legendary raid boss, Regirock? Perfect! I just did all my research on how to beat him the most efficiently. Let me tell you what I found. So first of all, let's talk about exactly how good Regirock is. Is he useful in Pokemon Go's metagame? No. Again, all the Regis are useless. They're only defensive Pokemon, and you can't put a legendary Pokemon in a gym. But he's still fun to collect, so I will be getting a Regirock. So, just like a Regice raid, the minimum amount of players I would recommend going in to a Regirock raid with would be 4 players if you have the best possible counters. Otherwise, I'd say 6 is a safe amount of people to use as a minimum amount. Regirock's quick moves are Rock Smash and Rock Throw, and his charge moves are Stone Edge, Zap Cannon, and Focus Blast. If we're talking about a Regirock that is not weather boosted, his best CP is 1764. And if he is weather boosted, his best CP is going to be 2205. Also put the lowest CPs there for you guys in case you were interested. The minimum catch rate for Regirock is 1.67%. And if you're able to maximize your catch efficiency with a gold medal for rock type, excellent curveball with a golden raspberry, all of that, you're going to get all the way up to 15.65%. Alright, now for the part you guys have been waiting for. What are the best counters for Regirock? Well, he is weak to grass, water, fighting, steel, and ground types. So you usually kind of want to use those types. Quick refresher here, there's 2 different stats you want to look at when you're calculating how good a Pokemon is as a counter. There's DPS, and then there's TDO. Damage per second, total damage output. DPS means how much damage that Pokemon can do in a given second, and TDO stands for total damage output. Total damage output is a number calculated on how much damage that Pokemon can do before it faints, usually more correlated to its defensive stats rather than offensive stats like DPS is. In my personal opinion, I like Pokemon with a balance between DPS and TDO, usually leaning far more on the DPS side because honestly that's really what counts when it comes to raiding. You want to defeat that raid boss as soon as possible because of that timer. Now some people prefer to just purely rely on Pokemon with the highest DPS and that's it. And because of that, I want to provide a list of the top 10 DPS counters for Regirock. Those are Breloom with counter and dynamic punch, Machamp with karate chop or counter and dynamic punch, Kyogre with waterfall and hydro pump, Blaziken with counter and focus blast, Hariyama with counter and dynamic punch, Venasaur with vine whip and frenzy plant, Groudon with mud shot and solar beam, Sharpedo with waterfall and hydro pump, Mewtwo with Psycho Cut and Focus Blast, and lastly, Heracross with Counter and Close Combat. Now, I spent hours doing a lot of calculations on DPS and TDO for all of the Pokemon that we are able to use against Regirock, and this is the top 10 list for the balanced Pokemon of DPS and TDO. Still leaning definitely more toward DPS. Number 1 is Kyogre with Waterfall and Hydro Pump. And if you're using Kyogre, make sure to be wary in case that Regirock has Zap Cannon. It is going to do super effective damage against Kyogre. Number 2 is Machamp with Karate Chop or Counter and Dynamic Punch. Number 3 is Groudon with Mud Shot and Solar Beam. And if Regirock has Zap Cannon, Groudon will do especially well because he has a strong resistance against electric type moves. Number 4 is Hariyama with Counter and Dynamic Punch. Number 5 is Breloom with Counter and Dynamic Punch, and he will also resist Zap Cannon, but not as much as Groudon. Number 6 is Venusaur with Vine Whip and Frenzy Plant, and he will also resist Zap Cannon as well as Focus Blast. Number 7 is Gyarados with Waterfall and Hydro Pump, but be very careful if Regirock has Zap Cannon because he will take dramatic damage against electric type moves. And he will also take super effective damage from Stone Edge, so be careful with Gyarados. Number 8 is Blaziken with Counter and Focus Blast. Number 9 is Mewtwo with Psycho Cut and Focus Blast, and he will also resist Focus Blast. And lastly, number 10 is Heracross with Counter and Close Combat, and he will also resist Focus Blast from Regirock. So that is my list for the top 10 best balanced counters against Regirock. Make sure to keep in mind about those moves that I was telling you about that might be super effective or ineffective against those counters. Use that wisely. as well as look at what the weather is at the time of the raid. Make sure you're using your fighting types when it's cloudy, and lean more toward the grass types if it's sunny. Groudon also works for sunny weather. Also, if you have any of those glass counters like Breloom or Blaziken, make sure to put them in the very front of the team. That way they can get their damage out before the raid boss gets their charge move, and so you make sure that you're getting your top damage out as soon as possible. And that's pretty much everything you need to know about beating a Regirock raid. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date on how to most efficiently beat all of the raid bosses in the future. Alright, catch you guys next time.
Bye!